Okay, Rowan. What's next?
Well, our next campfire story looks like it's going to be an old one. This may be more in line with your idea of a special story night with the club. It has otherworldly ghostly beings, but doesn't come with the heaviness that many of the other stories from the library do. This could be a camp classic.
That's fine. Hit me with it.
We're getting past what I've already read, but I skimmed it while Catalina was reading the last one. This is called Ojai. It looks like we're going to take a break from Adam and Marion and focus on the greater context of antimemetics and religious cults.
Cults?
Yes.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna take a vocal break. I'm not reading the cult shit. Either you or Jean can read this one. And never mind. Looks like you're on. Ani, grab me the s'mores. I need a snack.
Sure.
All right, let's begin. Foundation Agent George Barsin is monolithic, nearly 2 meters tall and rectangular-shouldered like a Bruce Timm cartoon. He is bald, bearded, and immaculately presented. His suit is tailored. There are few which will fit him off the rack. He arrives at the Green Place first thing after dawn, 6 o'clock. The address is isolated, an acre or two of ill-maintained scrubland off of a spur of the main highway north of Ojai. Barsin is part of the Foundation's anomalous religious expressions division. They do cults. Green is not the name of the cult which Barsin is here to confront, but a code name. Barsin doesn't know the real name. At the briefing last night, it was explained that there are legitimate security reasons to use code names instead of true names here. But those reasons were not explained. Barsin, no fool, took this to mean that there is some form of cognihazard surrounding the true names, or a memory clouding phenomenon which makes them impossible to record. Or, and he has dealt with the Foundation's research staff far too many times in the years not to consider this, somebody just straight up forgot to record the real names, and is trying to cover it up for themselves. If there's an SCP number, he hasn't been told it. The house is an ugly white sprawl. 1 story, wood construction, no 2 windows alike in design, and decaying. There are piles of junk, lumber, rusted vehicle components, drums of filthy green water. Willow and sycamore trees are encroaching from the 2.5 sides, drizzling leaves and seeds and miscellaneous biological gunk all over the roof, clogging the gutters. Through the windows, only closed curtains and blinds are visible. The front door is standing ajar. Barsin proceeds inside, cautiously. The entrance opens almost directly into a large lounge, diner, kitchen area. The room is darkened, light mostly spilling out from the entrance door. Barsin leaves it open, and feeling its way around the edges of the windows and coverings. The place is dirty and smells of mold. There is still air like an oven, and it's extremely quiet except for the faint, animated sounds of someone talking, way down the hall. Words not entirely clear. Barsin goes down the hall, passing a wall decoration which was once a mirror, but has now completely been painted over in black.
What? And yeah, it's gonna be sharp inside. When you're made to move, that's where you'll bleed from.
After a brief search, during which he ascertains that the rest of the house is empty, he comes to the final room. The door is closed, but the focused rambling is coming from inside.
At home, it's super easy. I'm gonna give you something, an easy 2-part project for you to take away. And don't forget all below. Part 1, find someone weaker than you.
Barsin knocks loudly. The patter stops. Nothing else is heard. Barsin opens the door. The room is dark. Its windows blocked with a thick curtain. There's a computer desk in the corner, opposite of the door, about as cluttered as a desk can realistically get, strewn with partially disassembled hardware, USB keys, chocolate wrappers, scraps of paper, and ballpoint pens. Yes, There is a gaming mouse, unable to move for junk. There's a good quality camera setup, a monitor, video feeds on the monitor, and dust. There's a cheap skeletal swivel chair in front of the monitor and a young man of about 20 slouched uncomfortably in the chair. He is skinny, with discolored pale skin which Barsin thinks could be caused by malnutrition. He has what at one point was a stylish, fashionable haircut, but is now in some disrepair, and when he turns around, Barsin sees that he has dark rings around his eyes. It looks as if he hasn't slept in a year. He reeks. The room is filled with that odor, almost thick enough to see. In the same way that the anomalous viral/religious phenomenon, the cult gathering around and above this young man like an anvil cloud, is named Green, he calls himself Red.
Good morning. We saw your streams.
The fuck are you?
My name's George Barsin. I'm part of an organization which— Whoa!
Red launches out of his chair like a rabid greyhound from a cage. He comes fist first, losing the headphones. Barsin shifts his weight slightly to the left, leaning away from the punch. He catches Red arms and pulls it forward, violently deflecting the attack's momentum and bringing the youth teeth first into the doorframe. Red stumbles back, crouching. He finds his footing swiftly. Froth is developing at the corners of his mouth, mixing with blood. Scrabbling around the junk on the floor, he puts his hand on a soldering iron. As Red comes forward again, Barsin wastes a critical split second trying to trace the iron's cable, to figure out whether it's plugged in and hot or not. It's not, but that's enough distraction that Red gets right up there, driving the iron up into Barsin's gut with both hands. There's an electronic screech and a spark of orange light. The iron holes Barsin's shirt, but skitters off his abdomen, opening a long tear. There's bare skin underneath. His shield is invisible, partly mythical, and protects his seemingly exposed head just as well as the rest of him. Barsin takes Red in a headlock. Some haphazard kicking ensues, less well choreographed. Red has demon's energy behind him, but Barsin has, to be blunt, arrived prepared. In a few moves, Red is disarmed, stunned, flat on his back, and good for nothing. Barsin takes stock. The number of genuine, fight-for-your-life fights he has been is still in the single digits. This one ranks about the middle. 15 seconds of activity, both of them made mistakes. A learning experience.
Then I'll dispense with the introductions. The live streaming vector was novel. We hadn't seen that before. Very effective compared to the generic self-help book and walled compound model. You get 1 point for originality, out of 10. We predicted it decades back, and we had the containment procedures ready to go. We have people at the streaming services. As I speak, we're locking you out of your account. We're using your own channels to distribute inoculation codes.
Barsin tries to tidy up his shirt. It's not going to work. Never mind.
But you're the source. A simple inoculation code would glance off. Physical intervention is required.
He reaches inside his jacket, where he has a perfectly serviceable gun, which he elected to leave where it is for this confrontation, and produces a device not unlike any ophthalmologist's scope. He kneels, lifting Red's right eyelid, and aims the scope at it, projecting a brilliant white spot of light which bathes the entire eye and causes it to lock open. Almost all of Red's musculature locks up as well, effectively pinning him to the floor, his teeth clenched.
This man is innocent. Nobody can deserve what you've done to him. Release him and leave this reality forever.
Who the fuck are you?
All right.
Barsin pushes another button, changing the projected light pattern from a pure white disk into a complex spiral star design in red and blue. There is a crack, like ribs being forced apart, and the youth screams. It doesn't sound like Red. It is a full-body scream, anguished and hopeless, and as loud as he is physically able to make it. It comes up from his belly and goes on, flat out, until he runs out of breath and gasps, and does it again, arching his back and clawing at the floor. After the second full breath, he cools down to a sobbing wail. The youth vehemently agrees.
Jesus Christ, don't send me back. Please.
I won't. It's okay.
Don't send me back. I can't see. Who's there?
It's okay. You'll get your sight back. My name's George. What's yours?
There's a pit. And it always gets worse. It doesn't stop. There's no bottom.
You're in a really bad place right now. Something has gone wrong, and that horrific thing which went wrong, has found you and abducted you and replaced you. It's out here now, using your skin as a finger puppet, walking you around, making you talk, replicating. That nightmare you're having is being held by 100,000 people right now. That's the bad news. The good news is that we caught you, and I can see you're still in there, and there's a good chance that we can get you out.
A good chance? If you can.
Focus on the red and blue spiral.
What? I can't see anything.
That's because you're not directly connected to this optic nerve anymore, but your mind is locked inside something which is. You can't see the spiral, but somehow you know what it looks like. You can sense its shape, like a pattern of heat on the back of your hand. The spiral idea is going in. It's spreading, flourishing, occupying more space. The more you think about the spiral, the more you realize you can't think about anything but the spiral. Your thoughts are slowed. The spirals fill you up, recursively, like ice crystals, until you can't move. Your brain knows it's being poisoned. Even though you're blind, you feel a reflexive need to look away or block out what you're seeing. A long enough exposure is fatal.
There's a long, heavy pause, during which Barsin does nothing but shine poisonous light into the young man's eye, while studying the brilliantly illuminated eye itself, tracking the progress of the ocular response, waiting for a particular tell. It's not a clear-cut thing. There's a small amount of guesswork. He waits until he is sure, finally releases the button on the scope, then shuts it off. The youth is now completely inert. Barsin stands up, knees cracking. He relaxes, sighs. His shoulders untense a little. He puts the scope away.
You can think of this as mimetic chemotherapy. The spiral symbol is an elementary cognitopoison. A long exposure is fatal, but a just barely non-fatal exposure is recoverable. You will recover from this poison, and Red cannot. You will survive, and Red will die. Because you, my man, are an intelligent, creative human being, and Red is...
He reflects on his briefing, and what he knows of the green phenomenon, and the 100,000 people suffering and raving inside it right now. They are in all parts of the globe. He has seen some photographs of what takes place in homes occupied by Red's appalling messages. He heard a strictly limited amount of highly redacted audio. Dispassionate people make better field decisions. That's the rule he was always taught. But remaining dispassionate is harder on some days than others.
a piece of shit.
Barsin potters around the room for a while, taking a closer look at some of the computer hardware. Nothing notable there, although he does find a stand for the soldering iron. There's also a narrow camp bed in the room, with a bedraggled sleeping bag. He clears the sleeping bag away and loads the youth onto the camp bed in a recovery position. He pulls the curtain open. It's an obnoxiously sunny day, and the sun is aimed right in the window. Finally, Barsin picks up the swivel chair and settles into it, on the far side of the room where he can keep an eye on his patient. He pulls a Foundation-issued phone from his pocket, along with a horrendously tangled pair of cheap earbuds, which he begins to untangle. He relaxes into his monologue. It's not as if anybody is listening.
Fact is, I didn't need to come here. There's more than one way to physically intervene when something like green comes around. You know what the original plan was when we found out about you? Orbital laser cannon to the top of the head. We can do that, my man. From time to time, your house would be a circle of scorched timber with you a burnt marshmallow at the middle of it. That's our latest methodology for dealing with virulent, single culpability mimetic anomalies. We do it at arm's length, at the longest possible distance, unblinkingly and unfeelingly, and to hell with the details. It's brutal, impersonal, very expensive in orbital laser maintenance. We say to ourselves that it's effective. Maybe it is. I'm not at that level. I don't get to see the statistics. But what I do know is that we can always do better. And I looked at the file, and I looked at you. And I took a long shot. Honestly, I'm a very small guy in the grand scheme, but I stood up in a pretty intense meeting with people who I don't really have the authority to say anything to, and I said to them, and this is a paraphrase, that's a completely innocent kid at the center of this. He doesn't deserve this. At minimum, we've got to make the gesture.
A shadow passes across the room. Barsin looks around briefly, but whatever it is gone. He thinks nothing of it.
And then I also said, if it works, it'll save us a boatload of money. I think that part was the part which got their attention. But I got a thumbs up. So here I am, trying to save your life the hard way instead of just atomizing it. It'll probably take all day. 6, 10 hours. Don't worry, I have podcasts.
He finishes untangling the earbuds and screws the first one into his left ear.
Your people must really hate you.
Shit. Barsin draws. Late. Obviously no one should be able to talk right now, but the real reason he draws late is that the comet lands. It should just pass him by, but there's a sharp, spiteful element of truth to it. Truthfully, nobody was a fan of the idea. Barsin has been saying for a long time, with gradually increasing volume to gradually increasing senior foundation overseers, that a chat beats a fight. He's been ignored over and over. Yesterday, when they finally said that he could try it, it was grudgingly. And so a momentary flicker of foul suspicion appears. Did they know? Did they really just kill him? They didn't. He knows. Of course they didn't. But it's too late. As he fumbles the gun out, Red is already sat up, grinning like a ventriloquist puppet, and turns his head to look right at Barsin. They make eye contact, and this time Red's eyes are open all the way, allowing Barsin to see straight through what's on the other side. Green comprehension leaps out of the pit and at Barsin and grounds itself into the back of his skull. He recoils instinctively, breaking the connection and covering his eyes. He stumbles, falling backwards out of the chair into the corner of the room. His orange, crystalline shield fluctuates, panicking in its own way because of what just passed through it. Intermittently, it turns impermeable, cutting off Barsin's frantic breathing. Then it snaps off and dies. Barsin doesn't have the training to fully comprehend the complex idea he was just exposed to. He has a basic level of practical memetic training. He can administer the spiral treatment and a few others to protect himself from certain attacks which would knock another generic human over like a domino. But he is an entry-level practitioner, not a specialist, not a scientist. The sheer scope of Green is beyond his ability to comprehend. He feels like one of the men Louise Slotin eradicated, a demon core critically witnessed. He knows he's dead. The only question is how long it's going to take. Red swings his legs off the bed and stands, keeping his grin fixed on Barsin.
A spinning red and blue light? How backward are you?
He seems to grow larger, and sink backwards into space, a hole where a human should be. Barsin finds he can't make himself move out of the corner. It's like he's pinned. There's a creeping, staticky numbness in his hands. He understands his error now. He might as well have tried to put poison in the ocean. He sees the whole thing, Red's grotesque vision of the world. Itself immense, vicious promise. The rot is everywhere. Those 100,000 infected are foretaste. The spores are flourishing secretly in every aspect of reality, in people's lungs, in their minds, in their words, in the soil, in the sky, maggots and cancers and stars signals. How can anyone think like that? How can anyone want that?
You.
Barsin means it in the singular. There is no distinction between Red and whoever that original human was. There is no one to rescue. It was a damn ruse. It was voluntary.
You made this happen? It didn't abduct you. You invited it, hacked your own soul in half and offered to piece us up for no reason at all? You've latched yourself onto the front of something unimaginable. You can't comprehend how badly this is going to end. You've murdered yourself.
Red advances on him. Gun. Barsin's mind is disintegrating. but it gets that one word out. Gun! It's on the floor between them, gleaming in the shaft of an orange light pouring out of the window. Barsin fights himself and wins, and lurches for it, only then finding that the creeping numbness in his extremities isn't just affecting his hands. It's affecting his own ability to perceive them. He doesn't know that it's a minor antimemetic clouding effect. All he knows is that there's a stump at the end of his arm. Both arms. The gun is inoperable. All he can do is push it around on the floor. He shouts, miserably and helpless. Red laughs and doesn't even bother to kick it away.
The Foundation will stop you.
Red cocks his head, as if he knows the word foundation from somewhere.
Are all of them as weak as you?
Comprehension goes both ways. Barsin dimly understands what Red represents, which means Red, in turn, dimly understands what Barsin represents. Red perceives the power structured which dispatched Barton into his hatred burrow. Red perceives the shadows of the people at the streaming services, and the mobile task force Barsin doesn't know about, sulking out around the perimeter, waiting for a go order that will never come. Red perceives that the 4 or 5 brutal, impersonal suits seated at the head of the operation, webbing it together. One of them is toying absently with their laser strike keystick, twirling it around the back of their thumb over and over, dropping it. That's as far through the headspace as Red can search, because of the limit of people who know about him. It, Red. That's the hit list. A shadow blots the sun out again, the same one as before. Longer this time. Red looks out through the window, giving it a curt nod. It departs. Barsin slumps to one side, dead up the shoulders now, conscious that any of these words could be his last.
You think you're in control, but it's going to kill you too. We can get you out. You can help us contain it.
Red crouches, still grinning.
Look at me. Look!
Barsin looks. He doesn't have a choice. It hurts. Red makes sure he is being heard loud and clear.
No.
Zayn, 346, sumption.
What?
A-star. A-star.
Shit.
Red looks around, suddenly genuinely alarmed. The phone. He lost track of Barsin's phone. He finds it, beneath the bed. He snatches it up. There's a voice authenticating interface, and authentication is nearly complete. Stop, cancel, undo. Nothing happens. Wrong voice. He drops the phone, scrabbles for the gun.
Zuloki Nora. Fire.
Red puts a bullet through the phone, and a second through Barsin's skull. He looks up at the ceiling, waiting, still armed, and he waits. But nothing else happens.
Yeah, man, I'll drink to that.
I'm sorry, cult magic? Taking people over?
You understand antimemetics a whole lot better, though, don't you?
I mean, I guess. How do anti-memes control people, though?
Easy. Just erase their personality, their very being, and step on in. We are talking about a world where cult gods are real, after all.
Are you certain we're even gonna remember this?
Not in the slightest.
Yeah, man, I'll drink to that.
Jean! Okay, anyways, so what's next?
I didn't get much of a chance to read ahead, but it looks like we're back to the Wheelers. That story seems to be giving us context for what is next.
Oh god. What happens next that this was put in there to prepare us for it?
Let's find out. From this point forward, it's all new for me.
Talk about one hell of a ghost story, let's do it!
And as we close, I want to give a special thank you to those in real life who made this episode possible. In particular, I would like to thank our many voice actors who worked on this project. In particular, I'd like to thank Kit, who played the role of Ani, Esme, who played the role of Catalina, Peach, who played the role of Rowan, John, who played the role of Jean, Emily, who played the roles of both Red and the young person Red was infecting, and for those curious, I played the roles of Lyralyn and George Barsin. My name is Gaia. I'd also like to thank the author of the story that we read today. He goes by the username QNTM, and you can find the story called Ojai on the SCP Wiki. Finally, I would like to thank the composer of all the music you heard in the background of this episode. His name is Kevin MacLeod, and you can go listen to his music and more at incomptech.net or .com. Can't remember the end, but if you Google Kevin MacLeod or Incomtech, you'll find him. Thank you so much for listening, and have a good one.